What's up everybody, Soul here with another Sword of Convallaria video, and today we're talking about Senshi, the cooking sensation that we were getting for free with this event. He is a phenomenal character that I cannot wait to discuss with you, so let's get right into it. So, having a look at his trait right here, it is called Enjoy Eating. And so, right here, at 1 star, at the start of the battle, he summons 1 pot of cuisine. The cuisine effect is when an ally is within 2 tiles of the cuisine and ends their turn, they recover 15% HP and have a 30% chance to gain both happiness and fullness for 2 turns, while reducing the cuisine's HP by 35%. So we've seen happiness before with Coco. That reduces the energy consumption and the cooldown of skills. That is absolutely massive. What is a big gimp here is that he is now giving fullness. It makes sense, but it's just unfortunate because you're able to get multiple hot pots out, or cuisines, sorry, they're not hot pots, but cuisines out. And so it's kind of a big deal. It'd kind of be broken if they didn't have this. However, this is definitely a thing and should be noted. So that's at 1 star, losing 35% of HP. Each chunk means it can be utilized 3 times before it just completely is gone. And of course it has its own HP gauge and can be destroyed otherwise because it is an item on the battlefield. Just take that into consideration. At 2 stars, we see right here, now he's gaining that attack and defense of 5%. And then he is now only losing 25% on his cuisines when they're being utilized by an ally on the battlefield. At 3 stars, we see this effect is improved again to his attack and defense now go up to 10%, and he gains 1 stack of Senshi's Satisfaction. Senshi's Satisfaction is unique to him, and that is when actively attacking enemies, each stack increases the damage by 30%, up to 6 stacks. All stacks are removed after attacking and cannot be dispelled or immunized. You are seeing that correct. 30% is absolutely massive. I didn't know if this is a typo, this is incorrect, translation or what, but that is a tremendous amount of damage. We're talking about a 180% damage boost, and it's not hard to get 6 stacks in my opinion. So that's a really big buff. And then also now his cuisine will give everybody 20% of their HP back, and then you're still losing that 25% each time they munch on it at 3 stars. So a decent break point where you're getting some nice, interesting things. If you're taking advantage of this event, depending on when you're watching this video, of course, but as of this Sword of Convallaria collab, the Delicious and Dungeon collab, you're taking advantage of this event, you are getting a free Senshi and up to 3 stars if you complete all the quests. So easy to get up to this point, and it's definitely worth it in my opinion. At 4 stars, we now see that his attack and defense is jumped up to 15%, and he gains 2 stacks of Senshi's Satisfaction at the start of the battle. That's really, really nice. And then past that, his cuisine is now only losing 20% when munched on. So definitely a nice upgrade. However, at 5 stars, this is where things kind of go nutty, in that now he is getting 3 stacks of Senshi Satisfaction right out the hop. So that means his first attack, turn 1, will do a solid 90% bonus damage if used. That's pretty phenomenal. And then of course, you're looking down here, he is now, his allies and him are recovering 25% HP instead of the 20, and they have a 100% chance of gaining the happiness / fullness buff. Really, really big deal. And then also, he's reducing that cuisine by that 20% still when he gets it, but it's still really, really nice. So this is a big deal. He is going bonkers at 5 stars. He's just like Coco, highly dependent on his 5 star in my opinion. That's where he kind of goes crazy. And then like I said, that fullness makes sense. You are not going to get happiness from those cuisines with that fullness. However, you still can get happiness from Coco when you have the fullness debuff on your characters. Really interesting stuff right there. So that is important to me. I tested that to make sure that was the case, and it absolutely is. I'll put something up on the screen for you to see. I'm sure you're seeing it right now. But regardless, yes, that is the deal. Really good to know. So Senshi, I highly recommend you get him to 5 stars. If you're utilizing him, 3 stars, of course, is a great breakpoint. 5 stars is my recommendation. So let's talk about his innate abilities. So Senshi right off the hop comes back with Knockback Bash. That's 140%, 3 energy cost. Attack at a single target. Of course, it has immediate range, so there's no extra range on that. And it is knocking those opponents back by 2 tiles, not just 1. This is a pretty decent ability that he gets, and we've seen this 100 times. Really good stuff. Nothing wrong with this right here. However, his innate basic attack is pretty unique and really good. And that is Pot Slam. It's a basic attack, of course. It's a single target attack, does 75% physical damage and knocks the target back by 2 tiles. So he has an innate knockback in his attacks. Really, really good stuff. And then here it is. If attacking an item, he can act again. And it can be triggered 1 time per round. So if he hits a boulder, he hits a trap, whatever it may be, he gets to act again. That's pretty phenomenal. So this is definitely unique to him, and it's really nice. I enjoy having this and utilizing this. Great innate abilities there. Let's take a look at the ranks. So right here at rank 1, you have, of course, Sweeping Bash on the right. Its physical damage deals 80% damage to all enemies within a 3x2 area in the target direction and inflicts defense down 1, lasting for 2 turns. Now, this is a 2 energy cost, no cooldown, decent ability, good little bit of AoE, and you're getting that defense down, which is, of course, a 20% debuff. Nothing wrong with this. I didn't go with this. However, there's nothing wrong with picking this up if that is your preference. I went with Co-Attack Extra, and that's a passive. And for each ally within 2 tiles of the character, his attack is increased by 5% up to 15%. And then when an item is present within range, his attack is additionally increased by 15%. I haven't utilized this a whole lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. So you pick which one you like. This is what I picked. This is what made more sense. But with all of his abilities and whatnot he's got going on in his kit, there wasn't too often where I really felt that this was a benefit. You probably would get a little bit more use out of Sweeping Bash. I don't know that as a fact, but that's my opinion. Now at rank 3, you have right here, it's Meal Time. 3 energy cost, 3 turn cooldown, support. It prepares 1 turn and summons 1 pot of cuisine at the target empty tile and grants attack 2 to allies within 2 tiles of the target and move 2 to the allies within 3 to 4 tiles for 2 turns. After casting, the character skips the turn. So this is how he gets those cuisines back out on the field. It is a big deal. If once his cuisine is gone that he starts with at the beginning of the battle, he's not getting another one unless you bring this along. Does that mean that he absolutely shouldn't bring this? In my opinion, he should. This is a fantastic ability that is really, really hard to run on its own. It requires what's over here on the right as well, which is responsibility. This is a passive. The skill, It's Mealtime, no longer requires preparation and no longer causes the character to skip the turn. After casting, at the end of the turn, if no damage was dealt during this turn, you gain 2 stacks of Senshi's Satisfaction and Crit 2 and Damage 2. That's a big deal. So it totally de-nerfs, unnerfs, whatever you want to call it, all the hang-ups that you have with this ability. It's Mealtime and makes it just an amazing ability. Sadly, you're taking up a second slot by running this, but it's absolutely necessary in my opinion, and it is the way to go. This is a character who I believe requires 1 Castalia to really be effective. And so I highly suggest you pick up It's Mealtime, and then when you get that Castalia or you're able to use a Castalia, get Responsibility afterwards. Responsibility is not doing anything for you really unless you have that Mealtime. It's what it's doing for you is very limited in comparison, but not completely limited. At rank 5, you have Dwarf Blood on the right. This makes him immune to Scorch and burning tiles. When taking fire damage or magical damage, taken is reduced by 40%. This is a fantastic ability. I really like this a lot. If you don't have a Luvata, but you're interested in using burn tiles and zoning, maybe running Miguel. I'm a Miguel fanatic, by the way. But yeah, this is a fantastic option. This gets them out of jail on that. If you have Luvata and you're not really too fussed about this, I would suggest getting what's on the left right here, Eat Well. And this is a reaction. It gains a block when the character is within 2 tiles of the cuisine. The block chance is increased by 100%, and the damage taken when blocking is reduced by an additional 20%, and performs an assisting cover for all allies within 2 tiles of the character. Really, really big deal. In my opinion, this enables Senshi to tank and do a very good job, and so this is what I would urge you to pick up and run, especially if you already have a Luvata in your team. You don't have to worry about those burn tiles, so to speak, and it's really a secondary concern. But act as you will and what you see as you see fit. This is my suggestion. Eat Well at rank 5. Now at rank 7, you have Burning Grenade on the right. This is piercing damage, and of course it's a 1 energy 3 turn cooldown. Deals piercing damage equal to 10% of the target's HP to all enemies within a 1 tile radius of the target, and changes the tiles into burning tiles for 2 turns. So love this ability. You've seen this on quite a few characters, and this is something that you can really cheese some difficult content with and utilize through multiple turns and things like that. I highly recommend you get this if you have the Castalia. If you don't, I would honestly just stick with the Smell of Cooking on the left, which is of course a passive where the cuisine now gains an aura and increases your attack and defense by 10% for allies in the 2 tiles of the cuisine, and decreases attack and defense by 10% for enemies. When the character triggers a cuisine effect, it gains a stack of Senshi satisfaction and recovers an additional energy. This is a tough one. I do really like this ability. I have utilized this. However, I can definitely see Burning Grenade being really, really useful. So it's really up to you. I personally would suggest the Smell of Cooking, but there's nothing wrong with picking up Burning Grenade if you're wanting to create more fire tiles and you maybe need that. Absolutely feel confident in doing so. You're not hurting yourself by doing so. So up here at rank 9, you have Powerful Attack on the left. This deals 110% physical damage as a basic attack. Nothing wrong with this. It's pretty decent. I would suggest you get what's on the right, Scorching Attack, which deals 100% physical damage and inflicts Scorch on the target for 2 turns. And of course, Scorch is 10% HP lost. Really, really decent stuff. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, the character will immediately take damage 1 time once it is applied. This is a great ability. Of course, he's got a very good basic attack as it is. So this is just honestly something I ran secondary, or on the offhand, or maybe you want to inflict Scorch because you're trying to get some bonus damage on, say, like Barrel's rank 13. Who knows? Or Luvata. Regardless, this is what I'd suggest you get at rank 9. Now up at rank 11, you have Crushing Strike. This is a single target attack. It deals 130% damage, and before attacking, the character gains Defense 2 and Magic Defense 2 for 2 turns. It is a 2 energy cost with no cooldown, and of course is an immediate attack with no range. Nothing wrong with this. This is a decent ability, but I would not suggest picking this up personally. I would suggest you to get on the left Iron Pot. And so this is a support ability where he gains 3 stacks of Senshi's satisfaction and holds up a large pot in front, reduces damage taken from the front by 40% and from the sides by 20% until the next turn. This is awesome. I really, really like this. You basically can use this endlessly. It's really, really good. No energy costs, free Senshi satisfactions, and then you're going to hit finally and do a lot of damage. So I really, really like this. And then the hidden utility in this skill is that it allows you to end your turn facing the direction that you want. For those of you that love Final Fantasy Tactics or so on, and when you end your turn, you want to be able to choose which direction you're looking to prevent being flanked and getting that bonus damage from hitting the back and so on and so forth. This ability is doing that. You can end one way, you can end your turn and face a completely different direction utilizing this skill. Really, really nice. I enjoyed this a lot. With that all said, let's talk about the builds. First, we're talking about Senshi support damage. Senshi, in my opinion, is an all-in-all support character, but in this damage support, he is not a main damage dealer. I don't think Senshi does a good job of that personally. You can prove me wrong and try and test. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just my opinion. But with that said, we're running that Scorching Attack, Eat Well. We are running that Iron Pot because I do like to have that extra defense in hand. If you want to pick up an attack damage ability, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd urge you to do so in place of this. I just liked having the option when running. And then I like having Responsibility and Mealtime in his kit. What I'm all about with this build is simply ramping up, getting those satisfactions, offering the extra support, and then getting those big hits in on occasion. He is a support damage dealer in this build, and in my opinion. We're running that Brutal Axe, and then that Mystery Guardian, and of course we want the Sword and Wand Resonance because we're going to be moving quite a bit. We want that bonus attack and defense for our movement, and then I am running Verdict of Justice on here for that extra bit of damage as a support damage. Next, let's talk about his build as a support tank. As a support tank, this is how I prefer to play Senshi 90% of the time, maybe 80% of the time. With that said, we're running that Pot Slam, Eat Well, Iron Pot, same abilities, Responsibility, and it's Mealtime. I pretty much am running the same set, just changing out that basic attack. However, the items are different in that we are running now Hollow Axe, we're running that Mystery Guardian, and now we have that Wand and Pentacle Resonance to reduce that physical damage on him. And then of course we're focused on HP and physical defense, and on those stats we want those percentages. And now we have picked up the Fool's Naivete as a Tarot Whisper because that bonus HP, we absolutely like that. And then of course, you know, we get that bonus damage when we can meet the criteria to do so. But this is my preferred way to play Senshi. I'd say 80% of the time. This is really, really good. Gives him some good utility. He does a great job tanking as long as he's in and around those cuisines. Phenomenal stuff. On to the next build, with the last build I should say, which is full support Senshi. So with full support Senshi, here we have it. He is coming in with the exact same basic attack, of course the same reaction. We have now picked up the Smell of Cooking as a passive, and then of course we're still running that Responsibility and its Mealtime on him. For our items, we switch things up pretty heavily. We're now running that Tuning Hammer, where he's got that bonus attack, but he's also dispelling. And then we have switched over to the Old Scrolls of August to give those extra buffs and to help the team, especially with that speed. And then of course we really want to take advantage of that Wand in Chalice, getting that Engraving Resonance. It's a big deal, really important. So we're running that, get those cuisines out as best as possible. And then for the Tarot Whisper, you can choose different things. If you want Course of Fortune, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's really up to you. But for me, I would recommend on this build Redemption of Judgment, because you want to strip those buffs from your opponents, and then of course get that damage increase with that Judgment debuff on your opponents as well. Really helping the team out. I really like this Tarot Whisper in this build, and I had a lot of use utilizing that. So with that all said, let's take a look at Senshi in battle. So here we go. We've all seen this fight 100 times. In this fight, we are running Senshi support damage. So he is trying to do damage while in this fight, and then of course support the team and help out when needed. So we're gonna run up, set some fire tiles up, and then get another cuisine popped with Senshi. I kind of put it behind our team, so I'm always thinking about protecting it. However, I'd honestly recommend you just throw it out there. We teleport Guzman up and then use his big ability because he's going to taunt all the enemies around, and they're going to just focus on him. Absolutely wonderful. Marcille walks up, kind of get ready for her turn, getting that full mana set up, and then Miguel jumps over. We want to make sure we hop over somebody to get that energy, and then basic attack. Here they come, doing their hits on are Guzman. We're not fussed. Guzman takes the damage really, really well, and the more damaged he is, the less damage he takes. As you can see, they just hit for 61. We're just not fussed. Good little heal from Homa coming in. Our drifters are ready to roll. Luvada comes in, clears out a good number of them right there, and then Senshi smashes that guy, just destroys him. And then here comes Guzman, his AoE, pretty decent stuff. He is built for defense in this build, or in this battle. Here comes Marcille. Now she's locking them in with her evocation. They honestly cannot move, and now they're vulnerable. We don't really mind if she gets the attack off or not. She is debuffed, and that is the primary concern or interest we're trying to achieve. So now those enemies are hard locked where they're at, not really able to move. Here comes Homa, doing her job, getting rid of that Ice Priest. And then Luvada with a Roaring Flint, and then some nice flame damage. Senshi blocks, we're setting up for more Senshi sensations. And then we're just taking a little bit of damage there, which we're not too fussed about. Senshi's tanking it, he's not fussed. And then Marcille does some pretty decent damage when we lock in more opponents, making sure they can't move too much. We go with those hops, destroying that pylon, and then back at it. Here comes suppression, we're not fussed. We're going to buff Senshi and get him ready for the big attack. Take that guy out. There goes Luvada with a nice little slam, and Senshi destroys that guy, critting for almost 17,000. Good stuff right there. And then Miguel finishes it. And so there you have it. That is the fight, quick and dirty. As you can see, in the course of 4 rounds, Senshi is able to get 2 decent attacks in and do good damage. The problem is with Senshi is he can do good damage, but he can't do good damage every round consistently. Once again, like I said, if you want to prove me wrong and do some work and try to make it work, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd be more than happy to see it, and I'd commend you for it. But my playing Senshi, trying to get him to be consistent, is the big issue. You're heavily reliant upon those Senshi sensations. You want that, or satisfaction, wow. You want that bonus damage. You want to ramp it up as much as you can before you go in and you hit. However, you're not able to do that every round and go in hot and heavy with a lot of satisfaction. So, that's just my opinion. And so right here, as you can see on the screen, this is Senshi's rating. He has a 5 in damage, an 8 in tanking, a 3.5 in healing, a 0 in magic damage, an 18.5 in buffs, a 3 in debuffs, and a 9 in utility, giving him an overall rating of 47. It kind of undersells what he's doing. I love that this is shaped like an axe. That's hilarious to me. I said that in his preview if you saw it. But yeah, really, really like that. But it undersells his value because Senshi can really do a lot, especially in his support build. He gets a lot of those cuisines out, a lot of that healing. He can have quite a few of them up and do some really good stuff for the team, getting that happiness out. Him and Coco cooking up a storm together will keep your team basically provided with cooldown reduction and energy reduction on their skills to a big degree. It's really, really fun. It's really good. I like it a lot. So this is a fantastic unit. I think he's heavily reliant on star levels, which is kind of sad, but we are getting 3 stars for free, depending on when you're watching this video, of course. This is on his release in global. But Senshi is a phenomenal character overall. Definitely versatile. I absolutely love my drifters. And so him coming in as a drifter and doing some pretty great things, I am very, very happy with Senshi. Once again, I really, really enjoy playing him as a support tank more than anything. I'll showcase that too down the road, but he can do a job as a support damage, and you will feel satisfied because he is supporting your team, giving them that happiness, healing, and he's also going in and hitting hard, which he's going to hit hard even as a tank because of that awesome satisfaction, but you can really get some decent numbers when you run the damage to do so. So Huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. I really appreciate you and your support. You're the ones that allow me to pull for these characters, to make the guides, to get the content, have the resources to do everything. Senshi is free, but your support absolutely is phenomenal regardless. Make sure you check the links down below and check out our Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel. It really helps us and do a lot for us. And then we also have a link for our Discord down below where we talk all things sort of Convallaria and then some. We'd absolutely love to have you amongst our community. And with that all said, I wish you the best in everything you do. Please make sure you drop me a like and a subscribe if you're watching. I know the vast majority of people who watch these videos don't subscribe, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a great way to support the channel and it costs you nothing. So it really means the world to me and helps me out. With that said, thank you so much for everything, and I wish you the best in your Sword of Convallaria adventures and in everything you do. Take care, and until next time, bye.